What's going on, you gamers? Today we're going to be diving into a bit more Diablo 4. I'll be going over Helltides, how you can farm them efficiently, and why you should be going to them in order to get the best out of your gear. So if that interests you, stay tuned. That's coming up next. So Helltides, just in case you don't know, are something that opens up at endgame along with a few other activities, and they're going to be events located around the world that spawn every 1 hour, on and off, so 12 times a day. Now this won't be available at the start of the game, you're going to have to complete the campaign, and then you're going to have to boost the difficulty to tier 3. After that you'll be able to take part in these, and they're definitely worth doing, because you can get yourself some amazing gear from them, but even more importantly than that, you can also get yourself some great resources. Now the thing about Helltides is they can be an absolute nightmare, especially at the start. If you jump straight into them and you're under geared, under leveled and under prepared, you're probably going to fall over quite a lot. So hopefully this guide will help you out a little bit in order to get the most out of them. So as you can see here, once you're in Helltides you're going to be pretty much fighting for your life, but there's definitely going to be a reason for it. One of the main things you'll be doing will be trying to open up these right here, and they're going to be your tortured chests. Tortured chests will be able to be unlocked by a currency called aberrant shards. Hopefully I didn't butcher that pronunciation, let me know in the comments if I have, but there'll be a lot of different varieties of these chests thrown around the Helltide that you can open up, each with varying costs, with some of the cheaper ones being your boots and armour, going all the way to the more expensive ones such as your two-handed weaponry. Once you're in a Helltide you'll be able to see these chests dotted around the map, but the only way you can open them up will be from beating down your enemies and obtaining a whole bunch of shards. One really nice way to do this is going to be to attack the largest mobs. If you see an absolute abundance of enemies, that's going to be your best bet. Don't go for the stragglers, the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, try to make your way to the biggest groups possible, as they're going to net you in most shards for how much time you're putting into them. Also, one thing that probably sounds obvious, but I see a lot of people not using, and that's going to be use your mount whenever you can. Travel from group to group, use your dismount, it's going to give a massive amount of damage at the start and really help you to finish them off, and will make things easier overall. Next, we're going to be going over events. Events are a perfect thing to do in Helltides because you know you're going to have guaranteed enemies coming towards you. Some events are better than others, so you probably have to learn which ones you want to do, but most of the time other people will be here as well, so you'll be mowing down the enemies very fast. Remember, in Helltides, as with pretty much the whole of the game, you will be able to farm things a bit faster if you're in a group, but also all of these tips work perfect for solo. Another thing I found, where you're beating down so many enemies, if you fill up your inventory, you're probably going to want to sell off all your gear in order to make some money, or of course if you want to scrap it. Make sure you're not spending too much time in town, as this is going to give you a lot of downtime, whereas you could be farming shards instead. I found the best way to do this, probably wait until you finished an event, go into town, sell everything off, and very often I'd come back and the event would have been restarted. Not always, but it can work out well. Also, like I said, some events are definitely better than others. If you see a world event like the Legion event spawning in this area, definitely head over to there when it's about to start. This event on its own will net you well over 100 shards just from completing it, and pretty much everyone who's in Helltide should be farming there as well, so you're more than likely going to complete it very easy. You're going to get a reward at the end, and you're going to net yourself a massive amount of shards in the process. Now's a perfect time to remind you though, try not to tackle enemies that are way above your level or that you're finding way too difficult, and run the way is always a viable option, because if you do die in Helltides then you lose around about half of your shards, and this can be quite painstaking, especially if you've got a lot on you. Other things to watch out for are rare spawns, not always, but things such as loot goblins also do turn up and can give you some nice drops within this area. Next, and we've got crafting resources. One of the main reasons you'll be in Helltides will be for these crafting resources. Themed rose is one you're definitely going to want to look out for. You can obtain these in Helltides, but grabbing them from this little plant here is something you'll definitely want to know about, as these are going to be needed in order to upgrade your gear and make yourself the most powerful you can. However, it's not just themed rose we need, we're going to need to get something else, and that's going to be forgotten souls. Once we're able to get Forgotten Souls and we're able to get Fiend Rose, you're now able to go back to your occultist and reroll one of the modifiers on your legendary gear. This works amazing, and in game for the very most powerful gear, this is something you'll definitely want to do. You'll often find that late game you're going to find some amazing piece of gear, but one or maybe even two of the modifiers are going to be very undesired. Being able to change one of these gives you a much better chance of being able to get a god roll item. You can collect these during Helltide events, but I've mainly seen them when you're opening up those chests. Lastly, and I'm going to be going over the mystery chest. The mystery chest is usually a little bit more out of the way. You can't see it on the map like you can see the others, so you will have to do a bit of venturing in order to find it. However, out of all of the chests, this is going to be the best bang for your buck. It costs 175 cinders, but most times I found myself getting between 3 to 5 different drops from this, and actually got 4 or 5 very often, compared to the other chests where you can open it and still get a really bad drop that's not even ancestral or not even legendary quality. This one pretty much guarantees it as long as you've got a bit of luck on your side. As far as I'm aware, it can roll anywhere between 1 to 5 drops, but like I said, most times from my experience it tended to be around the 3, 4 or 5 mark. Right, hopefully with these tips you'll be able to get the best possible experience from Helltides, and I'll chuck a few things on the screen to note, just in case you forgot any. But as always, there'll be a lot more content from me. Take care, I'll see you next day.